All right, let's talk about something you probably never think about, but it holds the key to how you move, how you feel, and even where your ancestors came from. I'm talking about your feet. They're not just for walking. No way. They are a living, breathing blueprint of thousands of years of survival. Let's dive in.
You heard that right. That specific shape of your foot, totally not an accident. It was a survival tool. So if you're looking down right now and see that your second toe is longer than your big toe, that's a clue. It means your ancestors were probably built for gripping some seriously treacherous terrain. But what happens today? We cram that advantage into shoes that are designed for a completely different foot. I mean, really, what secrets are hiding down there? The shape of your arch, the length of your toes, it all tells a story. It reveals the exact challenges your ancestors had to conquer, and it explains why modern life, and especially modern shoes, might be causing you all sorts of aches and pains. So go on, take a look at your own feet. We're about to decode their story.
Okay, so first things first, we have to tackle the single biggest misconception about our feet. This is a myth that has shaped or, misshaped shoe design for decades. The idea that flat feet are some kind of defect.
For years, the so-called experts labeled flat feet as a deformity, a structural problem, but that's only because they were looking at it all wrong. From an evolutionary point of view, flat feet are basically nature's all-terrain tires. Think about it. By getting the maximum amount of foot on the ground, you get incredible stability on slippery, natural surfaces. We're talking wet grass, muddy riverbanks, you name it.
But here's the catch. That ancient superpower becomes a modern-day liability. On hard, flat, unforgiving concrete, that lack of a natural spring in the arch means every single step sends a shockwave right up your leg. It just hammers your knees, and it makes distance running absolutely exhausting because your muscles have to do all the work of absorbing the impact.
So let's break down the different pieces of hardware, the components that make up your ancestral foot. Each one tells a totally different story about what your body was optimized to do.
Okay, so if you can slide your fingers under the middle of your foot when you're standing, you probably have the endurance blueprint. A high arch, you see, it acts like a natural catapult. As you run, it flattens out, storing energy just like a compressed spring, and then, boom, it releases it, launching you forward. It's free energy. Pure physics. It's why the best marathoners look like they're just floating.
But, and there's always a but, right? That incredible spring has a trade-off. Less of your foot is on the ground, which means you're way more unstable on uneven terrain. And all your body weight gets focused on just 2 points, the heel and the ball of your foot. On pavement, that can be a recipe for some really painful stress fractures. Now, reach back and feel that thick cord at the back of your ankle. That's your Achilles tendon, and it's basically your body's energy bank. If it's long and flexible, that's an endurance specialist's dream. It's incredible at storing and recycling energy, which is what let our ancestors run down prey for hours. But if it's shorter and thicker, that's a sprinter's weapon. Built for raw, explosive power. Think massive jumps and lightning-fast sprints.
And this brings us to another huge trade-off, your heel shape. A wide heel is amazing for shock absorption, great for standing all day. But a narrow heel, it acts more like a ball bearing, letting you make these incredibly fast changes in direction. Perfect for a hunter zigzagging through a forest. You see the pattern? You're either built for stability or you're built for agility.
But the most personal part of the story, the part that's really unique to you, is told right at the front of your foot. So let's decode your toes, because their shape is a direct message from your ancestors about the kind of life they lived.
Okay, first up, if your big toe is the longest and the rest of your toes taper down in a nice line, you have what's called an Egyptian foot. It's actually the most common type in the world, and it's an absolute masterpiece of efficiency for straight-line movement. It's perfect for migrating long distances. The problem today, those fashionable pointed shoes can force that hardworking big toe inwards, and that can lead to those really painful bony bumps we call bunions.
Now, what if your second toe is the star of the show, the longest one? Well, you've got a Greek foot. This is the climber's blueprint, my friend. That extra length gives you another point of contact, giving you way better grip on rocky, uneven surfaces. It's a trait you see a lot in mountain populations, but in most modern shoes, that tapered toe box crushes that toe, forcing it to bend down and leading to a super painful thing called hammer toe.
And finally, if you're looking down and your first 3 toes are all about the same length, creating this kind of squared-off look, you have Roman toes. This is the foot of a specialist, the heavy load carrier. That super wide base distributes weight perfectly, making it ideal for carrying heavy things or just standing for hours and hours. The trade-off, you lose a bit of sprint efficiency because you don't get as much leverage. So,
We've looked at all the individual parts, right? The arch, the Achilles, the heel, the toes. Now we get to put them all together and see the complete evolutionary packages they create. This is where you might just find your own personal blueprint.
And here it is. This is where it all clicks into place. You see, these parts aren't just random. They combine into these specialized builds. Look at this. A high arch for that springy energy return, a long Achilles for efficiency, and Egyptian toes for a powerful push-off. Put them all together, and you get the ultimate endurance hunter. Now, compare that to the power carrier. A flat arch and a wide heel create this super stable platform, and the Roman toes distribute the weight perfectly for carrying heavy loads. And then there's the mountain climber, combining the spring from a high arch with the agility of a narrow heel and that extra grip from Greek toes. So, which one sounds the most like you?
So what does all of this actually mean for you, today, in the real world? Well, it all leads to a really powerful, maybe even shocking conclusion. The problem isn't your foot, it's the world we've built around it.
No, seriously, this isn't just ancient history. This is happening right now. Researchers who study ancient footprints have come to a pretty terrifying conclusion. Our feet aren't evolving to fit our modern world. They're actually degrading. They are being physically reshaped and weakened by our shoes within our own lifetimes.
I mean, just look at the difference. It's night and day. On the left, a 20,000-year-old footprint. See how wide it is? The toes are spread out for balance. Now look at the modern foot on the right, squeezed and narrowed after a lifetime in shoes. We are literally deforming our own evolutionary hardware. It's almost a guarantee that your feet are narrower than your great-great-grandparents were, not because of genetics, but because of the shoes you wear every day. So, the bottom line, the most important takeaway here is this. Stop trying to force your foot to fit the environment. Start changing your environment to fit your foot. If you've got Greek toes, find shoes with a big, wide toe box. If you have high arches, maybe try some less cushioned shoes that let your natural spring do its job. The goal is to let your feet be feet again, to give them the space they need to work the way millions of years of evolution designed them to.
So I'll leave you with this question. Every single curve and contour of your foot is a survival story, written by generations of your ancestors. Evolution spent millennia perfecting this incredible piece of engineering. So the question you have to ask yourself is, are you letting 100 years of fashion fix something that was never ever broken in the first place? The answer is right there at the end of your legs.